plight and the progression of black people. Okay, cool. Because you're a black man with black children, right? That's how you label. You say, I have black children. So why wouldn't you want to see the black race, as you describe your kids and yourself, your own culture that you were born and raised up within, to progress? We see you do those things. We appreciate that. Then I'll wake up another day and it's like, are you out here kissing ass and cooning for these white folks? It's just weird. And you don't want to be dismissive. Once again, we said that in previous blogs, and be dismissive and write somebody's personality off and call them things like crazy or bipolar. Because if you're that much of a creative and that much of a free thinker, you better expect things that are going to come across as unnormal or shocking or different. So I want to be open-minded. I'll tell you what Black Lives Matter means to me. It's a moment. It's a movement. And it was also an outcry for Black people within America to tell this country and to tell the entire world that we still have a huge systemic problem here that we are facing. It felt like we were getting numb to turning on the TV every day or reading the newspaper and seeing another Black man killed by police, whether he be unarmed or whether we felt it was an unjust murder. I'm going to use the word murder. And I'm not naive, y'all. I'm very open-minded. I understand there could be things like media propaganda. I could understand that there could be things like 3 layers up of agendas that we have no clue of what's attempting to be unraveled as we're seeing some of these things rolled out and pushed in front of us in our newspapers and on our news channels and whatnot. I totally get it. An example of that could be like, okay, you have 9/11, regardless of what you believe the involvement was, whether it was, extremist involvement, Osama bin Laden, whether you thought there was, participation from our own government within 9/11. At the end of the day, there was still gain that happened after that. They still used elements of 9/11 to then begin to enforce, create, and change existing laws, strip away even some of our rights and freedoms, right? You have certain occurrences and there will be higher ups that create certain change to benefit and use those moments as opportunities. If there's a school shooting, a week later, you're going to see some type of state start to remove some of your liberties and do things like saying, all right, your 20-round magazine now needs to be traded in for only 9-round magazines. That's going to happen. I'm not naive and I'm not blind. But the big element to Black Lives Matters to me is the perception of it, the message of it. For example, if I put on the playoffs and I'm watching the NBA in the bubble and I see the whole length of the court has a Black Lives Matter statement painted on the hardwood floor, and you have these children and these teenagers and some of these very, very closed-minded racist people that are watching the NBA playoffs, and I see that on the court, it makes me proud. And I know there's a lot of people that can see that message on that floor and their mind could open up that much more. It's no different than when people say, a good thing about a Black president being in office is the message that it sends to the youth, to not just all kids, but especially Black kids, that, look, you can be the president. Don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder feeling so limited because you're Black. You could aim to be that. You could aim to be the next Barack Obama. That's a big message for Black youth. It's even a big message for closed-minded, stupid, ignorant racists in the world as well. When those people see a Black president in office, you got no choice but to get off the gas a little bit, because the country that you live in, the country that you're paying taxes in, the country that you're upholding, you're waving that big American flag for, hey, no matter whether you like him or you hate him, it's a Black man in office. It's a Black president right there. That symbolism is so strong. It opens up people's minds. That's the same point that I'm making about Black Lives Matter. Whether you want to write it off because it was possibly made out to be a scam in the end, or there was some bad people involved with it that just took the money and ran and bought mansions with it or some shit like that we heard. Regardless of whether you want to harp on that, or regardless of whether you want to say, I believe all lives matter. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, this statement, this moment, this outcry is supposed to be progression for us. We're attacking something systemic that is hurting us and making us feel I shouldn't even say feel, it's proving that we are still, after all of these years, not being looked at or treated equally. And that's why the all lives matter, or the white lives matter, or the Chinese lives matter, or the Indian lives matter, or the Spanish lives matter. That's why all of those t-shirts would be fucked up. If Black Lives Matters was created as an outcry and a moment to express what we're seeing and we're dealing with systemically across this country right now, and these occurrences that are right in front of our eyes that we need to react to and we need to educate each other on, if it's created for that, it doesn't deserve a rebuttal. We all know all lives matter. I care about Black people. I care about white people. I care about Indian, Spanish, Chinese. I care about all people, me personally. Do I need to make that clear enough? But that's not the point of what Black Lives Matters represents. So it doesn't need a rebuttal. It's not up for rebuttaling. But when you have the White Lives Matter t-shirt, that's a rebuttal. That's a rebuttal to that movement, to that moment, to that outcry of a Black man's or a Black woman's plight. No matter how, in your own personal deep thinking mind, justify it. People are going to see that t-shirt and they're going to think this is a Black man, a Black powerful man, a Black powerful billionaire man that is rebuttaling Black Lives Matter. That's how it's going to be perceived, because ain't nobody interpreting no deep, dark fantasy in Kanye's mind about why he actually wore the t-shirt, whether it's really valid or not, or whether he was trolling or trying to be on his fashion tip or break the internet or not. Even if he genuinely has a real creative thought as to why that t-shirt can help us all as a people, the average person is not going to understand this fucking free thinking guy's reason for just popping up on the internet all of a sudden and having that damn t-shirt on. Somebody can get killed behind wearing that t-shirt. The t-shirt itself becomes triggering. Look around, look how people are reacting. Not everybody is going to be capable of saying, all right, let me try to understand why Kanye did that. That's why you have to have the responsibility of being way more palatable if you really did have a genuine thought behind that t-shirt. And that's me being open-minded.